I'm sure the election is on everybody's mind, so today I'll be taking a look at and ranking into tiers all of our presidents on a segment I'm going to call The Trail of Tiers. Now I know what you're all thinking. How are you going to tier 44 presidents? I don't give a shit about like half of them. That's why I've made the Who Gives a Shit tier and put all of these guys into it. Next, of course, we have the Shit tier. In this tier we've got Andrew Jackson, who was responsible for the Trail of Tears. And when it's spelled that way, it's a lot less fun than when it's spelled this way. We've also got Andrew Johnson, who was the first president to ever get impeached. There's Grover Cleveland, who served 2 non-consecutive terms, which is pretty cool, I guess, but he also inspired the Cleveland Show, and there's just some things you can't be forgiven for. There's also Nixon, who got caught doing shady shit like a dumbass, and George H.W. Bush. The only thing we know about him being that he's not the other George Bush. Next up is the overrated tier. First one on this is George Washington. He was the first president, yeah, but he basically did nothing. There's Thomas Jefferson, who's basically the 18th century equivalent of the pretentious guy who calls himself a jack of all trades and makes you listen to his awful music. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, got his ass shot in a theater. FDR was a cripple. JFK, not even hot, 4 out of 10. Ronald Reagan, all these Republicans act like he's a god, but have you seen his movies?
But we needed money to expand the farm, so that's why I'm doing this. But frankly, Professor Boyd, I don't see why you are.
Well, it's fairly simple. A lot of people think they're born better than others. I'm trying to prove it's the way you're raised that counts. But even a monkey brought up in the right surroundings can learn the meaning of decency and honesty.
That's a fine thing to do.
Next up, of course, is the meme tier. Died after a month, got stuck in the bath, probably didn't even know he was president, and goes without saying. In the boss tier, there's Teddy Roosevelt, the biggest badass around. Lyndon B. Johnson, who would whip out his own Johnson to intimidate people. Barack Obama, baller-in-chief. And of course, Bad Bill. Need we say more? Lastly, we get to our top tier, the God tier. To be ranked in this tier is an honor, and you all know that that honor goes to none other than the man, the myth, the large-handed powerhouse that is Daddy Donald.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. $1 million.
Grab him by the pussy.
We need to build a wall.